Welcome to the driver's seat. We're in Winter Park, Colorado at the first ever Red Line Ice Driving event. And we have about a dozen vehicles here from different brands. We have a couple of Alfa Romeos. We're going to focus on this one, which is the Stelvio. It's their first ever crossover, and it's a good looking car. It made the finalist for the North American SUV of the year. So it's clearly making a lot of noise. The Giulia was awarded the Motor Trend Car of the Year, so for a relatively new brand that had a big absence in the US for over 20 years, they're coming back with a vengeance. So we're going to talk about this car. This is the base model, starting price at $43,000, as tested about $54,000. Has a 2-liter, 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. It's all-wheel drive. It's made it to a ZF automatic transmission, which is probably the best transmission you can get, an 8-speed, and it has 280 horsepower. The car looks good, and it's in a hot segment. I mean, Volvo XC90, BMW X3, the list goes on and on. But what I like about this car is it looks different. It's an Italian brand, so it really stands out from the crowd. If that's what you're looking for, this might be your vehicle. When you look at the segment, you have some conservative vehicles like the Volvo XC60, for example, and you got some very aggressive ones like the Porsche Macan. And that's what I like about the Stelvio. It definitely leans toward the more aggressive kind of coupe silhouette. I really like it if you want something more aggressive. The problem with that is you're going to lose a little bit of cargo space, but if you can sacrifice that, you're going to end up with a really sleek looking sporty car, and that's what Alfa Romeo was going for. All right, as you can see, we're having a little fun out here, some ice driving. And obviously this car is capable. All the vehicles they brought out here are all-wheel drive. Stelvio comes only in all-wheel drive, and if you do find yourself in conditions like this, it's nice to know the vehicle's capable. And I wouldn't imagine Alfa Romeo would bring this out if it wasn't capable. It has a very sporty all-wheel drive system, very similar to Audi's Quattro system. Overall, the car is a lot of fun to drive. It is different. It has a nice exhaust note. It has a nice name to it. Has a lot of heritage. Not so much the Stelvio, but Alfa Romeo. Now, you can see there are a lot of positives to like about this vehicle. And for people who just don't want the same old that everybody else has in your neighborhood, this could be a good way to stand out from the crowd and really make a bold statement. You really want to be bold? Get a bright red color. One thing about the Stelvio is that you cannot completely defeat traction control. We tried. So the good news is that if you are driving on snow and you want to be safe, the manufacturer has addressed that. They want to minimize the traction loss. The bad news, if you're trying to have some fun and get this thing sideways, like we've been doing all day, you're not going to be able to do that, because when you are making a turn and you're starting to lose traction, the Stelvio cuts the power way down until you can gain traction again. Two complaints I have about the Stelvio are the same ones I had about the Giulia. The backup camera is very small by 2018 standards. You have all this real estate, about an 8-inch screen. I'm told there's a fix coming down the road, yet they've minimized it to about 3.5, 4 inches. This is for safety, to see if there's a small dog or a child behind you when you're backing up. It's unacceptable. The other thing I'm not a big fan of are these paddle shifters. They're column mounted versus steering wheel mounted, and as you can see, there's not a lot of space. Honestly, in this segment, I don't even know if you need it. Maybe for the high performance quadrifoglio version, but for this one, I don't even think you need paddle shifters. I say just get rid of them or make them smaller and mount them to the steering wheel. Most of the driving we did today in Colorado with the Stelvio was done on either icy, snowy, or wet roads, and it was very competent. I like the car, I like the seats, they're very sporty, very aggressive. I like the exhaust note it makes. It's a fun car to drive. The steering is very direct, and I like all the features. The way they packaged this for $53,000, it makes sense. I think they needed to come in about 10% cheaper than the competition to really get people to get excited about this car and come in and test drive it. After all, you're taking a chance on a relatively unknown brand, because they haven't been in this country since 1995. They started out in 1961 when there was this big push for all these exciting European brands to come to America, but one by one, most of them left. Brands like Lancia and Fiat and Renault, Peugeot, etc. But a lot of them are coming back, and I think this is a great first step. The transmission is very responsive, even though I don't think this car needs paddle shifters. It's nice to have. It's also got 3 drive modes. They call it DNA. get it. But D is the aggressive mode, N is more neutral, and A is considered kind of the eco mode. In certain aspects of the Stelvio, you can see where they went above and beyond. For example, these cargo racks, they're made of aluminum and they're adjustable, kind of give it that industrial look. I also like the lower height, but in other areas you can see where they kind of cut corners. Some of the interior materials not exactly up to par, for example, with a BMW X3 or Mercedes-Benz GLC. Nevertheless, it's a good entry point for them, and I think they're going to make a lot of noise with this car. I would definitely recommend leasing it over buying it, especially because it's a new vehicle, and we want to wait and see how it holds up. But so far so good, and I think you can get a pretty good price on it. I'm Ron Doran. We'll see you next time on The Driver's Seat.